we have to measure that. Our sensors, as soon as they were in the water, they were gone. We got reports that just before she sunk, it was at 27 degrees. But most likely it's a bit further now. We have to measure that.
I think it's actually about the forward section.
Oh, the forward section. The forward section is still the same as what it always was.
Ministers, let's say it becomes environmentally safe, secure, whatever the phrase is. The containers are out, there's a wreck under there. What's the prospect that it might get left? Bearing in mind the Australian Reef is a very popular dive reef, very popular fishing area, it might get left as a dive wreck there. Is that a possibility, or is it just too early at this stage?
Our position at the moment is that the wreck has to be removed.
Okay.
Jerry, what are we going to do to ensure this doesn't happen again? We've been told that the Rena ignored shipping guidelines to stay away from the Astral Lab. Do you see any value in compulsory shipping lanes?
I think we've got to be very careful about overreacting in a sense of access to New Zealand ports. Reacting to this disaster has been totally appropriate and absolutely right. But shipping lanes are expensive to administer, they're expensive to put in, and when you think about it, they exist largely in jurisdictions where there's a whole lot of shipping transport. So if you take the English Channel, for example, you've got how many countries accessing the rest of the world through that channel. In New Zealand we're just one country, a long way from anywhere. So I think it's a matter of making sure that we deal with this whole incident appropriately through our law and through the negotiations that we'll have with the owners, and doing that set the precedent for how we expect everybody else to behave. As I said yesterday, when you go out there, it's probably not a wise comment to make, but you'd almost have to be a genius to hit the thing. It's you've got so much space that you could have missed it. So I think we've got to be careful we don't incur a whole lot of additional sort of cost to the New Zealand tax base because of what has been a pretty extraordinary event.
So to your knowledge, sorry, we don't have a problem with ships ignoring guidelines?
Well, that's my point, we do, and that's why we'll pursue this through the legal channels with the owners. That's why we've got people before the courts at the present time. So yes, very much we do, but to go that extra step of having enforceable shipping lanes seems to be a little bit too much at this point.
Can anyone from Maritime New Zealand comment on what you guys think in terms of that? Has it been talked about within MNZ, compulsory shipping lanes?
Maritime Safety Authority does its investigation.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, basically, I just support what the Minister said, really. I think it's too early in the stage. The situation is still under investigation. The results of the investigation haven't been released. There are two investigations currently going. That's a safety investigation and an enforcement one. Until those investigations are complete, it'd be entirely inappropriate for me to make any comment about what Maritime New Zealand's position is.
Sorry, just a quick question about the life rafts that were seen floating around. What happened with those? Did they automatically deploy as the ship went down?
Well, basically what happened was, as part of the contingent looking after the safety of salvors and indeed Maritime New Zealand personnel on board the ship, obviously it was extremely hazardous, it was agreed that we'd leave all what they call the LSA gear on board, that's life-saving appliances, so in the event of an emergency on board, all that equipment was accessible. So actually what it does demonstrate is that in the sinking of the Rena, that equipment worked, it functioned, the life rafts inflated, and all that equipment worked as it should do. Yeah. And with regard to your answer to the life rafts, etc., they have been marshalled and collected.
We'll just take a few more questions now.
A question for Pauline, just in relation to, obviously a lot of resources have been sent to look for debris, around the broken off section. Are you still, focusing on Waihi Beach and collecting that debris that's already washed up? Obviously since you've kind of diverted or, sent a lot of resources to the actual Rena.
We haven't actually sent a lot of resources to the Rena. We had in the area quite a significant amount of marine vessels, and we already had some in that area guarding some of the other containers and moving them around. So it was actually just mobilising them from one area to the other. That's why they were able to respond quite quickly. And we do have a significant amount of vessels and marine personnel out there working for us. We were able to do that.
And if you could just confirm, the Minister just referred to it, but he said two containers, you've seen two intact containers, you've seen...
Two intact containers were released, one floated and one sunk.
And so that's all like since this morning, since it sunk. So the others are just...
It popped out as it
So
was
the others
sinking.
presumably on board and...
Yes.